Hello, my name's Jeff Richards. I'm the head of training program development at Sage for Sage CRM. In this presentation, I want to explain the technical changes made in Sage CRM. This video is aimed at Sage colleagues and partners working with Sage CRM who want to understand the new technical features and business benefits of Sage CRM 2021 R2. I'm also going to make sure that we keep thinking about what this means for the customer. We want to make sure that you are prepared to give our customers the best support and advice. And in this video, I'll give you an overview of the release. I'll explain the changes to the documentation and other new resources that have been created to help you. Some of the things that you need to think about when preparing for the upgrade, but most of the time will be spent explaining the new features in detail. The local Sage teams completed their integration testing back on the 16th of July of this year, 2021. And so the release date for Sage CRM 2021 R2 was Friday, 6th of August 2021. Now that's when the software had passed its QA process and was issued as GA to each of the teams globally. That's the teams inside Sage. Each Sage region is responsible for scheduling the release of the software in their territory because the needs of different accounting integrations all have to be taken into account. As a consequence, the local release date of the software is down to each local Sage team. So please contact your local Sage support team and product management team to check when they're able to give access to the software to partners. The release notes for the new version lists over 30 customer cases resolved with key enhancements addressed in the Sage CRM 2021 R2 release, and all of the changes are described in the help center. So what's the overview? What do we expect in this release? Well, this is a significant release. It makes significant improvements to the overall user experience of Sage CRM. Screens and lists have been simplified. Context menus have been rearranged to declutter the interface. There's a new spinner that indicates when the system is working on tasks, and when we're creating quotes and orders, there's more control on offer to those users and administrators. So for example, file naming can now match the quote and order references, and users can pick their template when sending quotes and orders by email when you're doing a quick quote or a quick sending out of an order. Reporting pipelines have also been updated with a modern, fresh design with fully customizable colors and styles. And if your customers are using multiple landing pages with email marketing, they now have more control over web forms that capture leads. And an example dashboard demonstrates the power of bringing quote information to every CRM user, while there's a new company workflow that shows how processes can be controlled over all business objects within the system. And system administrators also significantly have control over the look and feel of the screens that are presented down to individual fonts and screen elements, because we've added an ability to customize the styles used within the system to override the existing ergonomic style information that is in a completely upgrade safe way. And in addition, administrators can now view log files from the user interface, which makes it even easier to gather system information quickly and easily when you're trying to resolve an issue. So Sage is delighted with this important release for Sage CRM 2021, and it's ready to integrate with a whole range of different Sage accounting systems. And we've created new marketing and training videos to help partners and customers to get the best out of this upgrade to the system. And there'll be plenty of articles, plenty of videos, all on these new features on the Sage support and training YouTube channel. So all of those describe and support 2021 R2. So let's just remind ourselves of what this is offering. There are enhanced screens and lists for new installs that display key information in the way you need it. A new pipeline graphic style that offers customers choice how key management information is displayed. Improved documentation to help a business secure their systems and keep their customer data safe. New reports and dashboard gadgets that bring decision makers the information needed to make the right choice at the right time. Simplified field types and spinners to improve the customer experience and take the hassle out of using the system. There's a new company workflow example workflow that makes it even easier to use powerful workflow features. There's a code-free and upgrade-safe style sheet override to allow a business to fit the user interface around the way that they work. And users have the easy ability to pick the right quote and order template for a quick merge. And system administrators can have quote and order merge document names follow the naming pattern that the business wants. And there are multiple web lead return URLs, which mean data capture forms on different landing pages return users to where a business needs them to be. The first place, though, you should look for help around any of these new features and the supported environments for all of the different supported versions of Sage CRM is, of course, the Help Center. And you can find that on help.sagecrm.com. And you'll be able to access that help information wherever you are. So that's partners and customers can access this from Friday, the 6th of August, 2021. So just make sure that you can access that. You can see where you can get the help on the Help Center. The documentation has changed, obviously, to support the new releases. So we've changed different guides as well, not just the release notes. The user guide and online help have been updated for users so they understand how they can select a template when sending a quote and an order. And the system administrator guide has seen the most changes, with changes on how to configure individual return URLs for each web form, how to append quote and order ID to Word and PDF file names, how to customize the or override the current theme, how to change the appearance of the pipeline chart, how to view more log files from the user interface, and how to use the demo workflow for the company entity, and also how to view information about the web browser's activity in the database table. There's an expanded set of logging information made. I'll explain a little bit more about that in the presentation. So the release notes document the issues and enhancements addressed in Sage CRM 2021 R2. All of the changes have been documented in the Help Center, and the training material has been added to the community and to the YouTube channel. All of this is available or is being fed out, available after the release of the product. We've updated the Sage CRM community with supporting downloads and e-learning material. So lots of material that will help you with that. You can find that on community.sagecrm.com. And the types of educational material that you have, well, we have we have many new resources in development. As I said, there's a rolling program of video creation, so you'll see these appearing up on the YouTube channel, support and training, customer support and training YouTube channel. The main focus is on helping partners support customers. So we've got targeted videos that address key topics. We'll also be adding, over the next few weeks, a series of articles and resources that go into all of the topics that I've been talking about so far, so that you'll have something that supplements the help resources as we carry out some deep dives into the different topics, everything from how to use the types of information in the new logs, and also the information in the activity table, and of course how to override the style sheet information. So customers, when we think about the process of upgrades, customers are supported in their upgrades from 20 CRM, so I'll say that again, Sage CRM 2018 R3 onwards. That's where we've tested. So 2018 R3 onwards, you can use the installation package for Sage CRM 2021 R2 to upgrade from 2021 R1, 2020 R2, 2020 R1, 2019 R2, 2019 R1, and, as I said there, 2018 R3. Please note we are not testing from other versions, so other upgrade paths are not tested and therefore are not supported. You'll also need to be aware that the support for 2018 R1, R2 and R3 is actually ending on the 30th of September 2021. So if you're going to be upgrading from an earlier version of Sage CRM, please upgrade to one of the versions listed here. And you may also want to be aware that the CTI functionality was first deprecated and then removed from Sage CRM 2021 R1. It's no longer supported, so if you've got an installation with CTI integration being there, when you upgrade to 2021 R2, it will completely remove CTI. And instead you'll be using the new click to dial functionality available in 2021 R1. Now, from a change to supported software, we've added support for SQL versions, 2019 with cumulative update 10, and earlier as supported 2017 on SQL Server, cumulative update 24 and earlier. We now support Android 11, but we've dropped support for Android 9 Pie, so in terms of the versions of the operating system, we don't do that. Please note as well, development is continuing on our mobile theme, but we have decided to end the development of the iPhone and Android apps. We announced this with 2021 R1, and we've put advisory notes on there, and actually now you can't download those apps from the marketplace anymore. You can continue to use the apps, but they may no longer work if the operating system for the phone is updated. So we're ending any development of the Sage CRM iPhone and Android apps. Please have a look at the Sage Marketplace, as that there are partner-led mobile apps available. Now, we have made some changes to the database and metadata. I said that this was a release in 2021 R2 that makes significant improvements to the user experience. There have been changes made to the default screens and lists for new installs, but there are new views and reports and a new dashboard that have been added into the system. And there's, of course, a new company workflow that's available. So changes in the administration of mail merge and quotes and orders and the control of the new pipeline style mean that new system preferences have been added into the system. And understanding the changes to the data model is important for customers planning to upgrade their system from an earlier version. And if you think about the process of upgrading, this could impact integration with accounting systems, customizations that you may have written, database tables and views, and of course the metadata itself. So as part of the preparation for an upgrade, we need to make sure that you've got all of the resources that are needed and you've assembled them together ahead of that upgrade process. The Sage CRM community has additional resources to help partners. And this includes a spreadsheet that lists the main metadata and database changes that have been made between Sage CRM 2021 R1 and Sage CRM 2021 R2. And you can download all of that from the example downloads and components folder up on the community. It covers in details any new tables, any new views, what columns may have been added to existing tables, and any new screen objects and system parameters that have been added into the system. So I'll just remind you of some of the important changes that have taken place to the database and metadata that you need to know about. So there are 2 new views, 2 new reports, and there's a whole new quote dashboard. There's a new company workflow, and there are changed system parameters to enable new features, and all of the changes are supported by additional captions. We don't anticipate these changes causing an issue for an upgrade, but make sure that when you're preparing a system to be upgraded that you do reference all of the resources that are provided. So let's start to turn to the changes that have been implemented within the system. Over the next few releases, Sage is going to continue to enhance the user interface for Sage CRM. For Sage CRM, for Sage CRM 2021 R2, Sage carried out a review of the default screens and lists for the core entities, and the review recommended several changes be made to system objects within the new installations. And this was to simplify screens and declutter the interface. On some screens, certain fields have been removed from display, and in other places within the interface, additional columns have been included. And the overall aim is to give a customer better use of on-screen real estate and to display key information appropriately. Now, changes to the screens are only going to apply to new installations. We haven't made any changes to force any changes to existing systems that are upgraded. So within the company screens and lists, the following fields have been removed from display: comp employees, comp revenue, comp integrated systems, and comp opt-out. And this has changed essentially the default fields within the company box long. Within the person summary screen, the order of fields has changed. We can see that as well within the grids within persons. And when it comes to the case screens and lists, following fields have been removed from display. So case found version, case product area, case target version, case product ID, and this has changed the case detail box. We've also seen those changes made in the case search box and the case grid, as well as the case list as well. Within the opportunity screens and lists, the display of fields have changed. So we've added some and removed one. So we've added in the Oppo forecast, the Oppo certainty, and the Oppo target close date, and we've removed the Oppo type from the grid. And the similar change has actually happened to the Oppo list as well. So we've changed the default fields in opportunity grid and opportunity list. Within the order screens and lists, the display of the following fields has also changed. So we've removed the Oppo type and we've added in comp name and the order created date field, and that has affected the orders grid, the orders list, and the orders list box. And if you want a complete description of the interface changes, please refer to the release notes for Sage CRM 2021 R2. And again, these changes do not apply to existing systems that are upgraded. In Sage CRM 2021 R2, The reporting pipelines have been updated with a modern, fresh design, which is fully customizable along with their colors and styles. And over the next few releases, Sage is going to continue to enhance the user interface for Sage CRM. The new rectangle design is the default appearance for pipelines that can be displayed within the opportunity list, the case list, and also underneath the, whether that's in the My CRM or the company and person contexts. The layout for the new rectangle pipeline is also different. You'll notice within an opportunity list, the summary information has been moved underneath the pipeline display. The segments of the pipeline show the count of records at each workflow stage, and when the pipeline is used to filter the records, the segment that is selected is clearly highlighted by a change of color. And the colors used within the pipeline are configurable using a CSS override, and how to do that is discussed in the release notes, and there are also blog articles that cover this as well that will be appearing on Sage City. The system administrator can choose between using the new rectangle pipeline style or reverting back to using the older cylinder style of the pipeline underneath the system administration screens. And you can find this underneath Administration, System Behavior. Another change that we've made on new installations of Sage CRM 2021 R2 is to replace the captions of fax numbers with alternative. This change was one of the recommendations that were made during a review of the default screens and lists for the core entities. A user working on a new installation of Sage CRM should not see reference to fax numbers when working with company, person or lead data. And so for a complete description of the interface changes, please do refer to the release notes for Sage CRM 2021 R2. And notice those changes do not apply to upgraded systems. There's a new dashboard template called Quotes Dashboard that's been added into Sage CRM 2021 R2, and you'll need to assign that to users in order to see them. So the dashboard template is not assigned by default. The new dashboard template displays a mix of dashboard gadget types calling information from the quotes table. So you have an active quote value by user gadget and an active quotes gadget, and they both draw their data from a new list report called All Active Quotes. And if a user clicks a record in the active quotes gadget, the details for that quote is displayed in the quotes detail gadget. To support the new dashboard template, there are new structures that have been created. So you've got two new views, vReport Quotes, vReport Orders, and two new sales reports, All Active Quotes and All Orders. One significant change that you'll see as you use the new version is that there's a new weights cursor or spinner that has been added into Sage CRM 2021 R2. The spinner indicates when the system is working, and it will indicate to the user when the system is busy and that they need to wait for the task to finish. A user will see the spinner when CRM loads a page, when it processes data, or it's busy saving changes. And this is only a small part of a whole set of changes that Sage is going to continue to introduce over the next few releases. All the changes are designed to enhance the user interface experience for the users of Sage CRM. Sage has also made some logging improvements and improved the information stored in the activity table within the new release. Sage has made more logs available within the system logging screens, and this is designed to make life easier for system administrators. We've also improved the labeling of the log files to make it simpler to select the correct files when you're trying to solve an issue. And should a system administrator or a partner be asked by Sage Support to provide a file, the update now allows a system administrator to identify the requested file easily straight from the administration screens. So these are new logs available within the interface, and that's the Tomcat main log, Tomcat CRM log, Tomcat Global Functions log, the Hibernate Framework log, Tomcat Sync Functions log, SData 1, SData 2 logs, and the Spring Framework Social Connections log, and the Spring Framework log, as well as the SQL Driver log. Sage has made another change to improve the information available to system administrators and support teams, and we've extended the information that is stored about a user's browser that is entered into the activity table. And there is another mechanism that we talk about. There's a blog article about this, about the information that is available about the HTTP user agent. There's a flag that you can use called the system admin flag on a live system, which will return information about the current browsers interacting with CRM. We've now made sure in 2021 the information stored in the activity table matches the information returned by the live session. And the point about this is that temporary information is only available as a session is active, but the activity table stores the information and can be used to report to help understand system usage and narrow down support issues. There's a new workflow for the company entity that we've added in Sage CRM 2021 R2. You can find this underneath the workflow areas. The new workflow demonstrates how workflow can be applied to an entity such as company. It gives system administrators examples on how to use workflow features to carry out tasks on multiple tables. And within the workflow, you'll see that this new workflow is called Sage Company Workflow, and that's listed with all the other workflows underneath Administration, Advanced Customization, Workflow. The workflow is deactivated by default. The workflow for the company entity, actually workflow for the company entity, not just an individual workflow, but workflow needs to be switched on within the workflow and escalation configuration screen. And once workflow is enabled for the company entity, the following workflow actions then are available for each company in Sage CRM. You can set the account manager, set the type, set the status, and the workflow, company workflow, provides examples of the following business rules and techniques. So changes to the company SLA ID will be recorded as a note record, and if you change that service level agreement, it can only be changed once a communication is recorded that the SLA has been agreed by the customer. So you can see interactions there and dependencies and rule types. There's changes to the comp status and primary user ID will also be recorded as a note record. It demonstrates the automatic creation of tasks, the use of JavaScript conditions to determine whether or not workflow actions should be available, as well as a nice example of the workflow action type execute SQL that demonstrates the insert of a record into the notes table, as well as making sure that there's a JavaScript condition that links the activity on a task to the company table. So this is a small workflow, but it's sophisticated because it shows cross-entity workflow with interactions that depend on tasks and actions being completed on another entity before you can carry out the tasks on the company. In Sage CRM, we've also made a change that allows a template to be selected when using the send quote or send order within the quote summary screen and order summary screens. These are the quick send an email with the quote, a merged quote, or merged with a merged order. The image that I've got on screen at the moment is showing a quote summary screen. In Sage CRM 2021 R1 and earlier, a user could click the send quote or send order screen, and this would use a default template to merge a PDF file that would then be attached to the email. The user would complete the email address and subject fields and then send the email. This didn't used to allow for customers who had more than one template that they wanted to use for mail merges. In Sage CRM 2021, we've added the ability to select the template before carrying out the rest of the merge, and therefore the merge will then continue and create the PDF that is attached to the email as before. The product configuration inside Sage CRM 2021 R2 has also been updated. We've updated it to allow for an option to use the quote and order format when creating the Word and PDF quotes. So you'll see that there's two new fields: use quote format for merge document name, use order format for merge document name. Customers had reported that they didn't like the naming pattern that Sage CRM 2021 R1 and earlier had used for merged files. So we used to create files which had the name of the template plus a random string, random number. So it'd be Panoply Sales Quote 585544015.pdf. So although the name of the template used was clear, the trailing number didn't provide information. And that could confuse a user because the name of the quote sent as an email attachment didn't relate to the quote number. So Sage CRM 2021 R2 now allows system administrators to be able to control the pattern and make sure it follows the quote and order ID within the product configuration area. So something like quote format looks like QT, with then following the opportunity number and then the number of the quote within inside that opportunity. The PDF and Word documents that are created by the merge will use that format when naming, but any troublesome non-standard characters will be removed. So if you've got brackets in there, they won't actually be displayed, they'll be suppressed. And the name of the template used for the merge is also part of the file name. So if the quote or order is reissued and a new merge is created, then the file name will increment. So that's got something like quote template QT 1071, QT 10711, QT 10712, etc. So if the user selects several quotes for inclusion in a merge, so if you're merging this from a group, then in that case the quote format won't be used. It will resort back to using the random number. So you'd end up with quote template and then the long number. Sage CRM 2021 has also added an improvement to the web lead capture forms. So a system administrator can now include multiple web lead return URLs. Within the web to lead screen, there's a field caption. There used to be a field caption called web lead return URL. It's changed in 21 R2 to default return URL. And if you look in the generated code, you'll see that there's a new ability to allow redirection, because you can redefine the web lead return URL within that generated code. And this feature is useful if a business captures data using different web forms in different languages and wants to redirect a user to a web page in that language, or if you are using multiple landing pages within separate marketing campaigns and you need therefore to have a different redirect page that reflects the marketing campaign that you're using. Sage CRM 2021 adds the ability for system administrators to override the look and feel of the screens that are presented to users. And this is an override control down to individual fonts and screen elements, and it's all achieved by using an upgrade safe style sheet mechanism. So it allows integration teams and developers to unify the look and feel between Sage CRM and other systems. So you can make CRM look like a targeted ERP system with which it integrates. You can make it look like whatever you need it to look like. And this is achieved because what we've done is we've created a folder that allows a system administrator to add a custom CSS file, and this CSS file is included in each page, and it overrides the existing style definitions of the current theme. And you can find this if you look underneath the installation folder, www.root themes, and there is this new custom folder. To help everybody understand this and get going with this, then what we've done is we've created an example style sheet that uses the Sage design standards and is modeled on Sage Accounting, the cloud product, to make Sage CRM look like and behave like that product. And that style sheet override can be downloaded from the Sage CRM community. Okay, we're at the end of this presentation, so let's remind ourselves about what Sage 2021 R2 offers. It offers enhanced screens and lists for new installs that display key information in the way that you need it. There's a new pipeline graphics style that offers customers choice on how key management information is displayed. There's improved documentation. We've got new reports and dashboard gadgets to bring decision makers the information they need to make the right choice at the right time, simplified field types and a spinner to improve the overall customer experience and take hassle out of using the system. There's a new example of company workflow that makes it even easier to use the powerful workflow features. We've got a code-free and upgrade-safe style sheet override to allow a business to fit the user interface around the way that they work. We've got the ability now for users to pick the right quote or order template when they're carrying out a quick merge. And system administrators can have those generated documents, the quotes and orders merged documents, follow the naming pattern that the business wants. And there are multiple web lead return URLs, which mean that data capture forms on different landing pages return users to where a business needs the customer to be. This is a major release. I hope that you understand that this is a significant improvement in the user experience, and if you have any questions or you need further information, check out Sage City and the Sage CRM community.